Welcome to another episode of Harvest DomeNation. You're gonna love what you're gonna see today. Check this out. So here we are, early March, and check this out. This is the bed that we're working with. This is the center circle bed that we have inside this dome, okay? And this is the fourth growing season with the soil, okay? And this is I want you to see the soil, the base soil that's already here. This is a very good, healthy soil. Let me show you some of the things that are in here. There are twigs, there are pine needles, things like this. Look at this. One of the things, this is interesting to know, there are rocks like this size. This is ideal for a soil bed. A lot of people think like, I don't want rocks, any rocks in my soil. No, you really want rocks, not big rocks, but rocks like this. You want them in your soil because what they do is they sort of prevent the soil from compacting, number one. Number two, they actually provide spaces for roots to grow. And let me tell you something about roots. People think that roots grow in soil. No, they don't. Listen to me. They don't. Roots grow in spaces, and rocks and twigs in your soil are going to provide that for you. All right, so the other thing I want you to see is check this stuff out as we come here a little closer. Look at this. This is organic compost. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling. It's almost good to eat. Well, no, you really wouldn't want to eat it. But what you see in here when you get really close, like look at this. See these little twigs? I see pine needles. Let me say something about pine needles. If you think pine needles are bad for the soil, you got to hear me out. No, they are not. Pine needles are certainly going to release a little bit of acid. They're not as acidic as we think that, at least in years past that we thought that they were. They don't over acidify the soil. So this stuff is loaded with twigs, and it's very, very good for the soil base. So what we did, we got about 180 square feet to cover in this soil bed. And so what we do is each year we're trying to come in with about a yard of good quality organic compost, and that's what we're going to add in, and I'll show you how we do it. Let me say something about compost too. You don't want to over compost your soil. Don't get so excited where you're like, I'm going to put 20 inches of compost. You don't want to do that. You're supplementing the soil. You're giving the soil something that's going to feed it some nutrition. It's also going to heat up the soil as well, which is going to be positive. We're not talking the surface of the soil. We're talking down deeper in the soil. As the compost is decomposing, it's creating heat. But that's not the only thing that it's doing. As it decomposes, it's able to release its nutrients. And also the material gets softer. And guess what? In this bed, inside this geodesic biodome, are some great worms. And they're going to love this stuff. They're going to thank you for it. And you know what worms do? They eat, they poop, and they pee. They do all that good stuff that's really, really good for the soil. And they provide spaces for roots to grow. So it's just all good. So watch what I'm doing. I'm really shooting for about a 2-inch cover on this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to roll it in. I have a spade fork that I'm going to use, and we're going to just roll it all in there. And this is so easy to do. You can do this. You can do a bed, 180 square feet, a bed like this. You can get this thing done in an hour. It's really not going to be all that much to do it. There we go. It's as simple as that. Now, I want to get the spade fork and show you how I till it in. One of my favorite tools to use when I'm working in the soil is something that's called a spade fork, okay? It's just a really good way to do your tilling. It's not really a till. What you're doing is you're going to fold over the soil. And the nice thing about using one of these, it's much more friendlier with your worms than if you just go in with, say, a regular rototiller, and you can tear that up pretty good. So we're going to do it by hand. It's only 180 square feet. It's not all that much, but watch what I do. So I'm going to just come in, and I'm just rolling. I'm just going to just roll that in there, rolling the soil a little bit. That's all we need. This soil is so good. Oh, I'm telling you, I can feel it. I can feel it pulsating in here. It's like it's breathing. This is going to be so awesome. And that's all you're doing. So you're not trying to go super, super deep. It's going to be deep enough so it's covered and it begins to decompose. And the plants and the worms and all the microbes are really good for the garden. They're going to love it. All right, so here we are. The compost, this great organic compost has been rolled into the garden. I like to say it that way. It's rolled in. We're not overdoing it. I want you to kind of get a nice look at this now. You can see some of the lighter soil. You can see the older soil base, and then you can see the organic matter that's just in there. This is like, I'm telling you, I wish you could just feel what I'm feeling. I'd love to walk in it like barefoot. This is awesome. All right, but that's not all that you do to your soil. Now let me recommend that if you're working, especially if you're working with a new soil base, you really want to get a soil test so that you're not guessing. Guessing is going to waste money, and you may be putting stuff in the soil you simply don't even need to. And it can get a little confusing out there when you start thinking about, like, how do I, amend my soil? How do I fertilize the soil? And I do everything organic, okay? I figured this out years ago, and people get a little afraid of organic, going, oh, it's going to be real expensive, and there's just so much to do. I have a recipe, I'm telling you, it's worked for me for years. All I can say is, I know how to grow. I know how to grow a lot of food that I eat, and I preserve, and I share with a whole lot of other people. I even sell some of my food. I know what I'm doing. It's a simple recipe.
Harvest DomeNation!
Listen. It's breathing, it's pulsing. I can't wait to plant, and I can't wait to show you. See you next time.